it behooves us as the followers and the madhab of the Ahlul Bayt to try and understand and acknowledge and recognize the traits of Ali Akbar, and to use those same traits and those same characteristics and apply them, and to correspond them in our lifestyle. On the second note, any viewers who wish to send their salams or any message to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, either email us, text us, or call us on the number shown on the screen. The number should be available on the screen. I would like to allow me to introduce our speaker, Sheikh Ali Ma'sumiyan. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikhna, let's begin our discussion speaking about Ali Akbar alayhi salam. Throughout history, when it comes to the days and the nights of Muharram, our scholars for many centuries encourage the followers of the Ahlul Bayt to take the Shuhada of Karbala as role models. How can I, as a youth, as a teenager, or any other person, take Ali Akbar as a role model in their lives?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين حجة بن الحسن العسكري ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. Dear brothers, sisters, all the viewers around the world, Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your a'mal, your actions, your deeds, your majalis in these holy nights, the nights of Muharram al-Haram, in the commemoration of the martyrdom of the third Imam, Imam Abu Abdullah al-Hussein salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you a long life so you can carry on these majalis and these deeds in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, we are truly blessed to be in the holy land of Karbala, next to the shrine, the holy shrine of our third Imam, the martyr of Karbala, the master of all martyrs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with his ziyarat in our lifetime and his shafa'at on the Day of Judgment, inshaAllah. With regards to the discussion of tonight of Ali al-Akbar, Salamullah alayh, who was one of the greatest martyrs of the day of Ashura in Karbala, there are many points and aspects that we can take into consideration. One of the well-known attributes of Ali al-Akbar was that he was most loved and revered by the women of the Ahlul Bayt alayhum salam, the ladies of Ahlul Bayt alayhum salam.
Right.
Hence, in the riwayat that we have on the day of Ashura, when he sought permission or wanted to seek permission from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because each martyr, before they went into the battlefield, they went to see their master being Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and their commander being Imam Hussein alayhi salam, to seek permission to go into battle. When Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam went to Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi to seek this permission, the rawayat say that the women of the holy household, the women of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, all began to raise their voices in crying and shouting and mourning, asking Imam Hussein alayhi salam not to allow him to go into the battlefield, because he was so much loved and revered by the ladies of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, because of the way that he protected them, especially his mother and also his auntie. Again, those two ladies are characters that we can speak about and about their attributes on the day of Ashura and the days leading to Ashura. Also, this person was a full-grown man compared to many of the other martyrs, although a very young man at the age of, some of the rawat say, approximately 27 years of age. So obviously, beginning his life as a young man, he was taken away and martyred in a tragic way that we'll discuss, inshallah.
One of the questions, based on what you've just said, one of the questions that many people tend to ask, for rightful reasons, is that if Imam Hussein alayhi salam, why did Imam Hussein alayhi salam take alongside him his family into a battlefield? What was the message that the Imam was giving the people of that time, and of course in perpetual time until Yawm al-Qiyamah? What message was he given to the people as to why he was taking his family into battle?
See, one of the things that people miss out on the tragedy of Ashura is that Imam Hussein alayhi salam wanted this to be something that can be used as a medium of tabligh, as a medium of the most powerful way to use the media of the time. The medium being who? The media being historians, the media being most powerful poets. At the time, the poets were the media of what is now today the news and so forth. Taking his family was one of the most important ways and significant ways that he could raise the voices. That his family and himself were not there for war. They were there to answer the cries of help of other people. Hence, in so many of the rawayat of the historians in Karbala, before Ashura and leading up to Ashura, on the day of Ashura even, Imam Hussein alayhi salam said that, first of all, we've come because of your invitations. However, if you wish, we will go back. Now, their treatment of the ladies, their treatment of the children conveyed what sort of vicious animals they were. So that in itself, until today, has a big impact. I'll give you an example. If you imagine that anyone discusses with you the righteousness of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, or the righteousness of Yazid, and so forth. One aspect of this, you have, in the nights coming inshallah we'll discuss, a 6-month-old baby who Imam Hussein alayhi salam asks for assistance or asks for water for this baby. On any natural war or any kind of enemy, they would either take the baby and say, okay, we have no war against your family, we have no war against a 6-month-old baby. If, hence Imam Hussein says, if there was anything that we'd done you upset with, surely the baby hasn't done anything. So logically, they should have taken the baby, fed it with water, given it back. Taken water and given it to the baby, or taken the baby and kept it until the war finished, and then given it back to the ladies, so the baby would not suffer in any way. Well, the very worst that they could do, the very worst that they could do, is not to give water to the 6-month-old baby, but instead they killed and they martyred the 6-month-old baby. This action in itself conveys the mentality of the enemy. If Abu Abdullah alayhi salam had not taken his family, had not taken the 6-month-old baby, this media that we can use today to prove the logic of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam would not exist. And what happened to the ladies afterwards with regards to the sabaya and so forth, they're all reasons that me and you as Shias can convey the injustice and oppression caused upon the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and show that they did not go forward, they were not bloodthirsty, unlike their enemies that were so intent in killing the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. In fact, in some of the rawayat it says that one of the reasons Hur decided to repent and had doubts was the absolute intent of the enemy with regards to killing Imam Hussein and the holy household, regardless of what happened. The rawayat say that he had doubt. Why is it they're so intent on killing them? Because Imam Hussein, when Hur went to them, he said, look, you're the ones that invited us before getting to Karbala. Yet everyone said, you know what, you still have to come to Karbala with your family regardless, you cannot go back.
Right.
They did not allow them to go back. They said, okay, if you don't want us to come, we'll go back. But they weren't allowed to do so. So that's something that can hopefully jog the memories or make people doubt the Khilaf of Yazid. At the end of the day, if you accept the Sunni Islam, or if you accept the Sunni version of Islam, which is not accepting the Wilayah of Amir after the Prophet,
right,
then you must accept the Khilaf of Yazid as a Khalifa on the earth. Surely any logical person cannot accept that Allah would put down a Khalifa to guide the Muslimin, such as Yazid ibn Muawiyah, and to be able to martyr someone such as the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ. These discussions each can be gone into in much more depth, but the main names of many people have come in, if you'd like to read them out.
Sure.
To say their salams, and I'm sure many more will come on as the night goes by, inshallah. But if we get time, we'll delve in deeper into them, inshallah.
Sure. These individuals have specifically texted in and conveyed, and we will convey their salams to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Muhammad Kareem, Faisal Hussein, Bilal Mir, Sharifa Patel, Ayub Patel, Rabia, Farzana, Nail Muhammad, Nazabak Ali, Mahdi Ali, Medina Ali, Khalida Hussein, Faisal Hussein, Nadia Hussein, Faika Suhail, Sayyida Tahir Batul, Sayyida Fadil Abbas, Muhammad Rafiq Sumal, Sajida Sumal, Rahat Batul Shah, Agha Abbas, Sayyid Musa Ali Shah, Sayyida Saka Batul, Sayyida Mahdi Raza, Sayyid Hamza Shah, Sayyid Amman Shah, Sayyid Sulaiman Shah, Sayyid Ibrahim Shah, and the rest of the Shah family, Sayyida Bint Zahra. Many individuals have conveyed their salams to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Do give in your condolences to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Do send in your name, send in your condolences. We will take on the responsibility to pass it on to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It's an interesting observation to the answer to your question, that if Imam Hussein alayhi salam had not taken his family into battle, then it would have seemed just like any other ordinary battle in the scrolls of history, and would have been long forgotten. It's an interesting perspective. There is one question that's, of course, a good reason to ask. The companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, specifically looking at Ali Akbar alayhi salam. Ali Akbar was seen as a devout son, was most beloved to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, one of the most beloved sons of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And of course he was a believer in his imamah, in the imamah of his father. Now how can we implement these traits in our lifestyle, as parents especially? How can we raise children who are, number one, devout sons or devout daughters, devout children, and number two, believers in the imamah of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman?
You've raised some good points there. First of all, with regards to the fighting of Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam for his father. There is a misconception sometimes by people that they think that Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam or Qasim alayhi salam or Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, they fought for their father or their uncle or their brother. This wasn't the case.
Right.
Or Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha went to the door to defend her husband. That's not the case. Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha went to defend the Imam of her time.
Interesting.
Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam went to defend the Imam of his time, regardless whether his father or not. Abu Fadl Abbas has a duty to serve the Imam. Whether that Imam is his brother or someone else is irrelevant. It's very important that the understanding is there that every single mu'min who believes in the Khilafah of the time, so our time is Imam Sahib al-Zaman Ajalallah Ta'ala Faraj al-Sharif, who is our Imam. It is our responsibility to do what is he asked. regardless of any family relations. The same as it was the duty of everyone in Karbala to defend the Imam of their time, regardless of their relation or family relations to the Imam alayhi salam. That being said, the second issue that you mentioned is how do we bring our children up in a way that they can be similar. Obviously they're never going to be an Ali al-Akbar.
Right.
However, how they can be similar to the Ayyam alayhi salam or the children of Ayyam alayhi salam or someone such as Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam. Again, the most important attribute of Ali al-Akbar, we'll read inshallah later on as we go through the night, Ali al-Akbar, when he raised his sword and the poetry that he recited, that he defended the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and the madhab of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and the madhab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the belief of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is his faith, is his conviction. Many people in the time of the Imams and in our time now say that they are mu'mineen, but in reality when it's tested they have nothing. Such as the story that you've all heard of Imam Salih alayhi salam and the companion who said, you know what, I'm one of your people. Imam said, would you go into the fire? He said no. And then another companion went into the fire became cold. So the point is, many people may say by their tongues that they're believers, but by action is when the proof comes in. The children that we have, or the children that we want to bring up in our lives to become role models, just as the role models that we have. First of all, this is to the parents out there. It's the parents' responsibility before the children's. It's not always right to blame the children. When a person wants to marry another person who is suitable to them, they must consider what children will come out of this marriage. If they marry someone non-religious, if they marry someone deviated, then surely they cannot expect that person to bring up children that are guided. Surely they cannot expect this person in a moment's time to change completely and become a complete religious person. It was your fault to marry someone that was not in the line of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, was not guided, was not religious. A non-religious person therefore is hardly likely to bring up a religious child. So a lot of times, to begin with, it's the fault of the parents. When the mother is pregnant, there is many things that the mother needs to do. There's many du'as and ayat and the Quran and so forth. The pregnancy is got to be legitimate. After the pregnancy, how the baby is fed. When you bring money, this is all the men out there. When you bring money and food to the table and the food source is haram, God forbid, how do you expect the child then to be in a straight path and to have a legitimate way of thought when the food that has gone into his body to allow his body to grow and his veins and his blood to flow in his body is from money which is haram, which is food which is haram. They don't go together. So many times it's the responsibility of the parents. Before they start blaming the children, they need to look at the responsibility that they have towards their children and whether they've done the right thing or not. Also, the way you treat your children as they're growing up, the way you have a friendship with them and guide them in the right path. At the end of the day, sometimes people, especially in the West, we speak in English to I presume many people watching in the West, what happens is they're very light with their children and they're very soft with their children because they're children, and they say, okay, you know what, we'll leave it when they get older, then we'll speak to them. But by the time they're older, they will not listen to you.
It's too late.
The phase in which they will respect you is gone. They will just say no. Come to the mosque? No. When you could have taken him to the mosque, you didn't. Now that you want to take them to the mosque because you're scared, it's too late. He can make his own choice, she can make her own choice, you're going to say no. There's nothing you can do, it's too late. It's past that red line. So again, it's the parents' responsibility, especially these times. Now we're here in this holy land. Most people can come at least once a year to this place. It used to be some of the maraji, may Allah bless their souls, had it as compulsory to come once a year to ziyarah to Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam. Now, this compulsion, even if it doesn't exist now with the maraji, if it's mustahab, it is still very beneficial, at the very least for your children, for them to get to know the religious world. If you can't come here, then at least take him to majalis. The majalis of Imam Hussein alayhi salam have a great blessing in them. They have great powers in them, and children can learn a lot. This is some of the things that one should remember before trying to blame the children. Many times when there's anything wrong with the children, the parents automatically say, you know what, it's the child's fault, our children is this or our children are that. It's extremely important to remember that also the family, the parents have a responsibility as well. Just a few names that have come in, I will quickly read out, of Nasim Sachu, Qasim Sachu, and Zain Ja'far, and Sayyid Muhsin. Will send your salams, inshallah. We only have about 3-4 minutes, I think.
3-4 minutes? That's enough for one more question. Speaking about raising and upbringing children, the history of Ali Akbar alayhi salam. Now, it's unfortunate that whenever we speak about Ali Akbar alayhi salam, the first thing that comes in our minds is the tragedy of Karbala, the history of Karbala. Is there any historical pieces that speak about Ali Akbar in his younger days, or how Imam Hussein alayhi salam used to deal Imam Hussein alayhi salam's relationship with Ali Akbar prior to the event of Karbala?
First of all, with regards to Ali Akbar alayhi salam, there's many stories with regards to how people used to be amazed when they saw him, wherever it was, even when he was a child, because of his similarity in looks to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, on the day of Ashura, when he sat down on his horse to go into battle, some of the historians say that some of the enemy pulled back.
Right.
They said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet, has come back from the grave and risen to fight us. He looked so similar to the Prophet that they thought it was him coming to fight them.
Right.
Obviously, the similarity was there since childhood, and hence the amazement of people. Some of the stories that would be of interest, although we don't have time to go into them, were the way that he looked after, as I said, for example, Zainab Salamullah alayha. And when they wanted to go to ziyarat, for example, how he would make sure that she's taken care of, she's in safety, and no man looks at her or no man comes close to her. Yes. And in fact, when they were about to go to Karbala, the person who offered to help her to get on the horse and to get on the carriage to be taken to Karbala was Ali al-Akbar. Right. But then Zainab Salamullah alayha refused and said, I have my brother Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam who will do this for me. Also with his mother. The reason that the relationship of Layla was such with Ali al-Akbar was due to his passionateness of the way he looked after the women. So not just his mother and the Zainab Salamullah alayha, but all the Hashemite ladies. That's one of the attributes of Ali al-Akbar Salamullah alayh that we can speak about. We need to go on a break now because they've just told me
sure.
it's about 30 seconds left.
Sure.
So we'll go on a break, inshallah, and
inshallah.
After the break we'll
carry
come
on
back,
inshallah,
and we'll talk about Imam Hussein and Ashura, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.